Bimbo, Dolapo, Aso Ebi.
Ebi is family.
Family.
All of a sudden, yes,
clothes.
Aso is cloth. But it's cloth meant for the family. A uniform worn by the family. According to the name, that's what it says, Aso Ebi. Not that everybody that's coming to the occasion has to
because
wear.
Everybody is not Ebi.
No.
But why do you make it compulsory for those who are not Ebi to have this Aso Ebi?
And I can answer that question, my sister. Sorry, it's very small. And when we are doing this kind of parties, you know, we need money to buy the things that we give to the people that buy the uniform. So, what it's true. What we do is very easy. We will buy the Aso Ebi 2,000. I tell you it's 10,000, so we can give you gift where you are going.
So it's a matter of funding the party for you.
It is. It's a matter of funding the party on most occasions. You'll find out that once they do sell the Aso Ebi to you, they sell it at a different price. They buy at a cheaper price and sell, and they use what they gain from that to buy the things that they hand out, the little, you know, ornaments that they give at the end during the party and at the end of the party.
You know, we have somebody, our guest in the studio is actually a fabric merchant. She sells Aso Ebi to a lot of people and make loads of money off Aso Ebi because the Aso Ebi don't come cheap. And we want to really ask her the source of Aso Ebi, what Aso Ebi means, and what does it cost really to have an Aso Ebi, the grades, the categories, the colors, what informs what color you take for an Aso Ebi. I'm talking about Shade Balogun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Shade Balogun. I will call you Shade Balogun on this program, although your auntie. A good advertisement for your business. Aso Ebi. What is the source of Aso Ebi? Where did it start from? How did it start? How did it become a must in our celebration?
Simply, Aso Ebi is a cultural thing. It's the tradition of the Yorubas. It doesn't have to be expensive. In actual fact, you can have an Ankara for 1,006, for 2,000. That's not expensive. It's when you're taking Aso Ebi for 160,000, which some do, that's when you start to get concerned about why we should pay that much money for an Aso Ebi. I'm into selling Aso Ebis. I do Aso Ebi for a lot of people. I always advise them not to spend too much money or not to expect people to buy at high price, simply because they will have other projects apart from this one-day thing that you're probably not going to wear for more than 6 hours.
So what's the most expensive Aso Ebi that you ever had to sell to a celebrant for an occasion?
I've sold up to 160,000.
For 5 years?
50 people, yeah.
For 5 years. Yeah. And then what's the least number of people that will come to ask for an Aso Ebi?
No, not too many will go for 150,000 because they wouldn't have that kind of money. So that's why sometimes when you have a party, then they have about 3 or 4 different outfits. Those for 150, those for 35,000, and those for about 5,000.
So it is color. Do we just pick any Aso Ebi, or is the color important depending on the ceremony? Say a naming ceremony, for example, they want to pick Aso Ebi. What colors would they usually go for?
It's amazing. Most people don't even know about colors. So they normally depend on you to give them the reigning color, or the moment color, which we can get from magazines or from other parties. Some, for instance, a wedding, their children would normally know what color they want for the hall and for what they want to wear. So they come requesting for it. But in most cases, they're a little bit confused about which color to wear, whether pink, whether turquoise. Do you think this will go with this or that? And that's why we have samples to show them. And then they can be convinced that, oh, this and this goes well. Let's take this one.
In a month, how many customers would you say come in to look for Aso Ebi for different occasions in 1 month?
You have quite a lot, because people get married,
All the time.
people do burials, naming ceremonies, and it's extended to other things now. I mean, it's basically a social thing,
Yes.
but then it's going more political, and all sorts of organizations are asking for, I will call it uniform. Now, the difference between uniform and Aso Ebi, you don't have to buy it, it's voluntary. A uniform you have to buy. For instance, the Igbos will appear in uniform to their meetings,
Okay.
hundreds of women, but they have to buy it because it's a meeting, they're identifying with a particular thing.
Okay.
But if I want to identify with you for your party, I can put on the color you've asked, but I don't have to wear the material, either because I can't afford it, or because I'm not into Aso Ebis. And there's some people that are not into Aso Ebis, and they will wear what they like or the color of the day to go with it.
Can I ask you from a Yoruba point of view, where if your daughter or your son is getting married, and you decide to choose an Aso Ebi, would you be offended by the people who do not buy it, who do not want to buy them?
Yeah, some people, we're all different. If you've been buying because of other people's weddings, and it comes to yours and they're not buying, you're going to feel hurt.
Okay.
So it's expected that because I did it with Mrs. A and Mrs. B and family C, therefore they have to do.
Okay, they have
but you
to
don't
do
have
it.
to. It's
Okay,
not
so it's not how do I put it?
Compulsory.
Is it offensive? It's not like lack of etiquette not to buy Aso Ebi.
For most they will feel offended.
Okay.
But the few that I believe that are more sensible shouldn't really be offended. Because after all, I can even buy the Aso Ebi and not wear the Aso Ebi.
Which is what I do.
I can intend even coming to your party, and I first of all go to Aisha's party with whatever her Aso Ebi is, and unable to go home and change, and come
then turn
to
up
that
at my party.
for different reasons. And
convenience.
therefore, we mustn't really be offended with them.
But with Aso Ebi, when they're giving out gifts at the end of the day, they give more to the people that have Aso Ebi.
That's right. because
They don't
bought.
give any even to those who don't have Aso Ebi.
They will barely feed you.
No, the idea of the gift is to give those that has identified with them with the Aso Ebi. So of course, if you've not identified with them, why should you be expecting the gift? And most of the gifts come from that money.
That's what I'm going to say. You are giving to me what I bought.
Exactly.
You are giving to me what I bought. You are not doing me a favor. You are not giving me a gift. It is I have paid for it. So you are giving it back to me.
Yes, which is very wrong. I know people that give Aso Ebis free when they're doing things, when they're having an event, a party.
Yeah.
And there are those that will double or even triple or whatever the amount to make money for themselves and then to buy little gifts for people.
What about
I think
what
is very
about
wrong.
those aunties and uncles from nowhere who go off and actually select Aso Ebi for their own friends and sell it as exorbitant prices
That's a
as well?
good question.
You
You have
walk
the
into
general Aso
parties,
Ebi, right? And then some groups will
You
have
see groups
their
in
own
different-
Aso Ebi from within the larger group. So
Yes,
what is that?
sometimes it depends. If you think the Aso Ebi is cheap and your friends can't wear that kind of Aso Ebi.
Oh, really?
Of course, you can have your own. You know, we like swagger and efficiency. And we just want to appear different and probably a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
Therefore, that can inform them into doing that.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just the fact that we want to look different, me and my friends, because we believe we're high and up. Yes. Okay. That's what informs them. Otherwise, why should they want to be different?
We are talking Aso Ebi in the studios of Amazons today. You can see that I, Bimbo, and Dolapo, we are in the Amazons Aso Ebi, you know, and we are with our gele, which is part of the Aso Ebi. We will be taking a break now. When we come back, I'm going to be asking you what the cost, and if you do sell on credit, because I know that some people, they can't afford the Aso Ebi, they go to buy on credit, do the party on credit, take a loan for a party, and then begin to make some kind of financial adjustments after the party. We will be talking a lot more about that after the break. Thank you, audience. You're still watching Amazons. Today on Amazons, we are talking about Aso Ebi. You can join this discussion on our Facebook, our website, which is the amazons.com.ng. Do you think that we should continue to spend extravagantly on sourcing Aso Ebi for parties in Nigeria? Join the discussion on our website. And Shadi Balogun, I'm sorry. I'm used to calling you auntie, so it may slip once in a while on this program. Do you have people coming to you to buy Aso Ebi on credit? That is, they don't pay for it, they get it, they go and sell and return your money to you and keep the balance. Do you have that kind of arrangement, like a credit facility?
Yes, I've done it for few close friends, but I don't do it generally. And it has actually worked well for me. Because instead of making for about 200 people, I'll probably make for about 50, and they will carry them, bring the money for that one, and do another one. But you have to give me time to be able to do that. But I must know you very well to do that.
Yes, just in case the money doesn't come back.
But I know that some friends, you know, because I have, you know, been involved in taking quite a few Aso Ebis. Yes. You know, what they do now is, you don't pay to them. They send you the account number. You go and pay the money into the account. Once the alert is sent to them, they send the clothes to you. So it's like a business, really. You know, a business networking of, you know, doing the business of Aso Ebi right now. So the money is not. You don't put money down, you know, bulk money down to source for the Aso Ebi, because you actually get the money up front before you buy the Aso Ebi and deliver.
Are you serious?
But the funniest thing, unfortunately, those kind of people don't get as much people buying the Aso Ebi. A lot of people won't probably go to the bank and pay money. They keep reminding them, Shade, you haven't paid for that Aso Ebi. Are you not going to identify with us? And I can pretend that I don't even remember, that I don't even know what, you know. And therefore, they don't have as many people as they want. But when it's by credit, you will have 2 or 3 times the amount of people that you really want.
Aso Ebi for wedding, I understand. Aso Ebi for
Burial.
Birthday, I understand. Aso Ebi for burial, I really don't understand. Now, Aso Ebi for naming ceremony amazes me. It's honestly, you know, people go to such length now, you know, when they're doing naming ceremony and spend so much money for a 7-day, is it 7 days, 8-day-old baby? And sometimes I'm like, you know, isn't it getting a bit ridiculous, where should we not be thanking God that you have a child rather than spending money that you can save to send the child to school?
Open an account for the child with that money.
What do you think about that?
With the naming ceremony, I don't think we have too many people doing that. I don't actually sell for naming ceremonies, because they've not come to me for Aso Ebi for naming ceremony. But for burial, that's a lot, because more people go to burials. But in most cases, it's Ankaras.
Okay, for the burial.
And they're not too expensive.
Okay.
But sometimes, if you feel you're a top shot or something, you don't really want Ankara for 2,000 or even the 3,000. You want the ones for 15,000 or 10,000. So that's why you get different groups taking different
Uniforms.
uniform in Ankara.
But if it is Aso Ebi, meaning it's a uniform, it's something everyone should wear, then why is it that there's still this discriminatory thing about, you know what, because I can afford more, I should buy something that is more expensive, if it's supposed to be something that everybody should wear? I don't understand that bit.
But that is we Nigerians for you.
Okay.
I think from time immemorial, when this Aso Ebi started,
Okay.
I can remember far back as to my mom's time with the, what you call it, damask.
The mask, yes.
With the friends and all the jewelry from here to here, what do you call them, sovereigns.
Okay.
And all that. And they used to, you know, dress the same, and people used to dress the same. And I didn't think at that time they were thinking of making money from what they were doing.
Okay.
They did it because it was the tradition.
Yes.
And you know, you got it at the right price and give it to everybody at the right price, and somehow you're able to get your own stuff. But nowadays, it's so different. Getting Aso Ebi for burial is a new thing. It wasn't there before. That's what you're trying to say. But because in most cases you have a lot of children,
Okay.
and if you want uniformity,
Okay.
and you don't want a particular child to take lace, that particular child to take Ankara, the other one to take voile, you just call Ankara for everybody.
Okay.
And nobody is different because they're in
Alright.
uniform.
Okay.
That way you know that those are the kids of the person that's been buried.
And they're friends.
And their friends. Okay.
You understand? But now in Nigeria, it's so, there's so many things going on with who I think I am. I think I'm above
Okay.
this, and
Okay.
therefore I have classy friends, I have rich friends,
Okay.
and then they want to be different.
Okay.
And you see all your aunties appearing in different.
Isn't that vanity, really? You know,
It is vanity, but
isn't
most
that
of us in
vanity?
Nigeria we're dealing with
Well,
vanity.
We're vain, we're vain.
There's
We're
so
very
many
vain.
So many things that you can spend your money on. There's so many lives that you can affect, really, with the money you spend on Aso Ebi. There are some people who are just looking for the minimum, the barest, you know, amount to start something, to start a business that can feed and sustain a whole family.
Yes.
We have an Aso Ebi audience in the studio with us today, and we want to talk to them. And we would herald this question from our gaily dressed audience by singing Thank you very much, the band. Thank you, our gaily dressed audience. I'm sure that's looking at you. You are also part of the Aso Ebi saga for women. Every weekend, people go to one party or another with Aso Ebi. So I'm going to ask one of you, Awawu Bolodioku, how often do you go to a party with Aso Ebi?
Not every time. It's just twice in a month.
Twice in a month is not every time. That is quite
Twice in a month.
frequent.
It is important. So if the person is very close to me, it's not to all parties that I used to buy, but if the person is very close to me, I make sure I buy the Aso Ebi.
So how do you save for an Aso Ebi? You know, how do you save for it? Do you go out of your way sometimes because you don't want to offend the person that has invited you? How do you cope with getting Aso Ebi for occasions?
If the person is very close to me, if it is my friend, if I don't have the money, I will tell the person I don't have the money. If she likes, she can give me and say, maybe when you have the money, you give her the money back. And mostly I buy Ankara, I don't buy lace. It's Ankara I'm always go for. I don't always go for lace because lace are so expensive. Ankara 2,500. There is one of 2,000. That's the one I go for.
So it's still Aso Ebi? So you are cutting your cloth according to your clothes?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes,
Okay. So as parents, we also tend to force our values on our children. I know most children these days, really, they don't want large parties for weddings. They do not want the stress of, dealing with this family thing of Aso Ebi, engagements. Because you also have to take Aso Ebi for engagement to mommy-mo,
The traditional?
Yes.
Because what we do now is that we have the traditional in the morning, just before you go to church. So you're taking a different attire for the traditional, you're taking the church attire, it's ridiculous.
The reception attire. So sometimes they even stretch it for, 2 weeks. This week you're having the engagement mommy-mo. Next week you're having the wedding proper. And sometimes some people go to the extent of having different outfits for just this one wedding, but with different, with different dates. Don't you think we are overdoing it, and forcing the wrong values on our children?
I quite agree with you. We are overdoing it. I personally don't agree with it, but I sell them. That's my bread and butter.
That's your business.
Yeah, so I think we have other things in life because we've heard many stories about people not being able to train their children. The children they're not even able to pay school fees, and yet you see them in Aso Ebi. The money they're supposed to use for a particular project, it goes in Aso Ebi.
We've been looking at the values really in Aso Ebi, the extravagance, and what really is the root of Aso Ebi in Nigeria. I'm told it started from, the Yoruba culture. The Yoruba culture started Aso Ebi in Nigeria. Now it's fast spreading in the east, in the south, even in the north. They are beginning to go in Aso Ebi now. But we must thank you very much, Shadi Balogun, for coming to talk to us about the nitty-gritty of Aso Ebi, the pluses and the minuses. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you.
Well, I'd say events now and events decor and everything. Yes, we are getting extravagant. We're really going OTT, like they said, over the top.